I thought this would be fun coming off of Jokic's monster Game 5 performance there in that pivotal Game 5 the other night to run through the top 5 Nikola Jokic playoff games. Top 5 Jokic playoff games. Guys, there are a lot of games to pick from. This guy's put up some monster numbers in something like 78 playoff starts. Guy's got 58 double-doubles and 18 triple-doubles in his postseason career. But I got a top 5 for you. And interestingly, some of them come in losses. And I think I've figured out a way to beat Jokic, to beat at least his team. Let him get monster lines. At number 5 on the list, 2019 first round versus the Spurs. This is a Game 6. This is Jokic's first playoff series. 43 points, 19 for 30 from the floor, 12 boards, 9 assists, 2 steals. But this was a big Spurs win in Game 6, mainly because Denver got outscored 30-18 in the fourth quarter, but it wasn't because of Jokic. He did his part. In the second half, he scored 27 points on 13 for 16 shooting. Jamal Murray scored 5, and nobody else scored more than 3. He got no help in this Game 6, but the 43, 12, and 9, not bad. And he did come through in Game 7. In this series, he went for 21, 15, and 10, despite shooting 35% from the floor in a bit of a dogfight Game 7 to win his first playoff series versus the Spurs when he got in there in 2019. So that gets us started on the list. But it's a loss.
They beat DeMar. That was a DeMar DeRozan Spurs series that they got him.
It's a weird team.
That's right.
DeRozan, LaMarcus Aldridge, Jakob Poeltl, and Derek White all starting.
Wow.
for the Spurs.
All right, number 4 on the list. Same year, next series, 2019 conference semifinals versus Portland. I'm picking Game 3 from this series because this was the quadruple overtime game. He went for 33, 18, and 14. But the fun part is Jokic played 65 minutes. Again, It was a loss for Denver and Jokic. Portland won 140-137. But man, Jokic playing 65 minutes. I mean, you remember this wild-ass game where everybody was, of course, playing heavy minutes because it went to quadruple overtime. But I just wanted to illustrate this one because, it's a fun thing to be like, this guy's not in shape. This guy can't run up and down the floor. Well, he played the most minutes in the game, again, in his first playoff sort of run here. And had a really good game, 33, 18, and 14. But
is that the most playoff minutes ever in a game? I mean, there can't be a lot of games where a guy's going close to 65 minutes.
Yeah,
that's impossible.
It was 64 minutes and 58 seconds, I think. So I'm rounding up by 2 seconds. But yeah, I mean, you could check it. It's got to be close to it.
Gotta be.
How many games have gone to quadruple overtime, let alone a guy play that many?
Pause.
In the playoffs.
In the playoffs, yeah.
Fool. I forgot to click the playoffs.
I will say, in that series, in Game 1, which was a victory for the Nuggets, he went for 37 points, 9 boards, 6 assists, 3 steals, 2 blocks. He was perfect at the line, and he went 11 for 18. So he had a really good Game 1 there in that conference semifinals.
All right, 4th most minutes ever.
In a playoff
game. Most since the 1950s. I don't know what happened. There was a game on March 21st, 1953 between the Boston Celtics and the Syracuse Accusers. And Bob Cousy, Paul Seymour, and Red Roche all played 66 to 67 minutes in that game.
Wow.
An absolute barn burner. 111-105 in 4 overtimes.
Oh, wow.
Barn burner.
Even 140-137 is like for quadruple overtime.
Not a crazy high score.
Crazy. This is 5 years ago at this point, but that's number 4 on the list for Jokic's best playoff performances.
It's funny you mention the fitness of Jokic because it was a big time criticism of him early in his career, and I think about this all the time. When he came back to the bubble, he looked so much skinnier after hanging out with Novak Djokovic, and Lee said, I don't know if he's going to be effective now that he lost weight. The guy has gone on like the best 5-year stretch we've seen in a decade after that. Getting in shape works for basketball, it turns out.
Yeah. He used to be a chubby man.
Yeah.
He's obviously 6 straight playoff runs here. It's odd when you look at all the playoff games that he's played in, and the fact that him and Jamal Murray, when they play in a series together, haven't lost a round 1. They always go to a round 2 or a round 3. Yeah, it's some bad seasons. I mentioned Jamal Murray in there because, yeah, he got bounced in the first round without Jamal Murray once, but he keeps going, and he keeps going, I guess because he's fit. That's got to be a part.
Well, you get ready to see, because I already saw it. If we get Jokic versus Luka, there's a Photoshop going around, like the NBA YouTube thumbnail where it says like game highlights and then it shows the 2 stars. The Photoshop is them super chunky, super fat looking. It looks hilarious. Luka, gigantic face and all that. Jokic, same thing. I know that's making the rounds, and I'm sure it will only catch fire even more if they actually meet in the Western Conference Finals.
It's coming back from going into the bubble. A lot of people were either gaining weight or losing weight. But,
it's true.
Yeah.
He elected to lose weight.
Yeah.
And he's been pretty good since. All right, number 3 on the list for Jokic performances in the playoffs. 2023 conference semifinals versus Phoenix, Game 4. That's right. 3 I've got on the list so far are all in losses. This is the game he went for 53 points, 20 of 30 shooting, 11 of 13 at the line, 4 rebounds. They kept him off the glass, and 11 assists. 4 of Jokic's highest scoring playoff games all came in losses. 53 versus Phoenix last season, 43 in a first-round series versus the Spurs in 2019, 43 in a first-round series versus the Wolves in 2023 last year, and 41 in the finals versus the Heat in 2023, which was the only game they lost in that series. This is the secret to stop the Nuggets.
Yeah.
It really is.
I think this last Game 5 was the first time that the Nuggets have won a game where Jokic scores 40 or more in a playoff game.
Yeah. It's really, really wild when you think about it.
That Phoenix line there, earlier in the series, he scored 39 and they won. He didn't get to the wire.
That's
He
right,
didn't.
that's right.
He
Smart,
just short.
smart.
When he shot also 30 shots, because I've been looking at how many shots has he
that's
taken the
another
most.
thing to watch, yeah.
Shoot a lot. 31 is the most he's ever taken in a playoff game. As it looked like he was going to do that against the Timberwolves this postseason. He was going to get up to 30, but foul trouble hurt him. But it's a good point here. They're all losses.
Yeah, it's wild. So I had to go with his 53-point game, though, on this list. Another option, though, Game 3 versus Phoenix in that series, which was another loss. He went for 30, 17, and 17. In fact, 4 of Jokic's top 13 playoff games ever, if you're ranking them by Basketball Reference's game score, came in this series versus Phoenix last year. So some of his best work. In the 6 games, he averaged 34.5 points per game, 13 boards, 10 assists with a block and a steal, shooting almost 60% in that series, which is just mind-blowing. But that's number 3 on the list. Let's get to a win. Number 2, last year's conference finals, Game 1 versus the Lakers. 34 points, 12 of 17 shooting, 3 of 3 from deep, 21 rebounds, and 14 assists. He pulled down a dozen rebounds and had 5 assists and 8 points in the first quarter of that Game 1 versus the Lakers. He had 8, 12, and 5 in the first quarter. That set the tone. This was a monster win. This was a monster game for a lot of guys. Denver won 132-126. You had Jamal Murray scoring 31. He was battling an ear infection, I had to be reminded of. AD went for 40 and 10. LeBron had 26, 12, and 9. Even KCP and Austin Reeves both scored over 20 points. So everybody was on fire in Game 1. But the Nuggets hadn't beaten the Lakers in a Game 1 since like 79. So this was huge for them. And he was awesome. I mean, 34, 21, and 14. I remember us talking about this one.
So whoever they play in this year's conference finals, if they do Game 1, you got to be scared.
Game 1.
You got to be
One's a
scared.
monster.
Yes.
I was surprised we didn't get a shot over Anthony Davis.
That was this game. Yeah.
That was this game?
Well, he had a big one at the end of the quarter. You're thinking of the...
I'm thinking the gem, the back 3-point shot.
Right,
the
right.
Wild. That was the Game 4 to seal it.
Yes. But he did hit a big one in this Game 1. I was looking at the highlights. It was at the end of a quarter, I think. And AD was right there contesting it, and he just hit his classic, like, dad driveway shot. Where you're like, oh, come on, man. He was a monster. But his number 1 game, it is what just happened this week. When you look at it, and especially when you take into consideration the 0 turnovers and a 2-2 series, the pivotal Game 5, I'm talking about 2024 here, conference semifinals versus Minnesota. Had the 40-burger, 15 of 22. He had 7 boards, 13 assists, and again, 0 turnovers. Just a masterpiece is what people were calling it. And that's why I was like, hold on, has he done better? And really not when you're thinking of just like the percentages, the game, the importance of that game number, and just the flawlessness of the 13 assists and 0 turnovers. Mwah! Chef's kiss here.
He's very good.
From the Joker. And if we get a Game 7, I just thought this is a final note to throw in here. He's played in 4 Game 7s over a 2-year span in 2019 and 2020. Remember, they kept going to 7 games?
Yeah.
They won 3 of them and lost 1. So if Minnesota can give us a Game 7 for the weekend, he's had a pretty good record.
Came back from down 3-1 twice.
That's right.
The same playoffs.
Same playoffs.
Yeah.
That's bubble time,
Duck.
isn't it?
Bubble time.
Yeah. Sorry, Doc. They'd be Duck River.
Yeah,
Sorry, Doc.
too.
Sorry, Doc. So there it is.
I got.
There's a million other games.
Game 3 of the finals didn't make the cut.
Yeah, sure, it could have.
32, 20, and 10. It's the
good.
only 30-point, 20-rebound triple-double in NBA history.
How did he shoot in that game? Did he shoot it may have got docked a little bit?
Yeah, he was only 12 for 21.
Well, that's
Only
good.
57%.
That's bad for him. Yeah,
This guy's a monster, man.
That's following up the monster one that he
41
lost.
points.
Yeah. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, at 41 in the loss against Miami.
It's crazy. It's crazy that he's when it's all said and done here, he's going to be he'll be knocking on the door of 100 playoff starts somewhat soon, maybe in a couple of years, maybe a year or 2.
Yeah, next season, probably.
Yeah, he's at 78 already. There it is, top 5. Like Trey just did, I'm missing some, so let me know in the comments.